Comparison is one of the most subtle and destructive habits that robs people of joy, peace, and progress. It's a poison dressed up as motivation, and it silently destroys lives because it convinces you that your worth is determined by how you measure up against someone else. The truth is, comparison keeps people broken, and blind to their own calling. It's a thief of gratitude, a thief of identity, and a thief of focus. When you compare yourself to someone else, you're making a mistake because you're judging your journey against theirs without knowing the price they paid, the sacrifices they endured, or the battles they fought in private. You see the results of their discipline, but ignore the years of struggle that led there. And when you use that illusion as a measuring stick, you either feel pride because you think you're ahead, or despair because you think you're behind. In both cases, comparison robs you of growth. The person who constantly compares themselves will always live in lack, no matter how much they achieve. Why? Because there's always someone with more money, more influence, more opportunities, more recognition. If your joy is tied to having what others have, you will never feel satisfied. That's why comparison is not only destructive, it's endless. It's a treadmill with no finish line. Comparison also blinds you to your own gifts. While you're busy envying someone else's abilities, you neglect the talents within you. You might spend years trying to be like someone else instead of cultivating the unique calling you were created to fulfill. And the tragedy is this: the world doesn't need another copy of them, it needs the original version of you. But if you're trapped in comparison, you'll bury your gift instead of multiplying it. Comparison is also dangerous because it fuels insecurity and resentment. You start to resent people who succeed, not because they harmed you, but because their success reminds you of what you haven't achieved. That resentment eats away at your energy, your joy, and your focus. Instead of being inspired, you feel inferior. Instead of collaborating, you compete. And instead of growing, you shrink. Here's what you must realize. Your race is not their race. Your journey is not their journey. Your timing is not their timing. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You cannot compare your seed season to someone else's harvest. Growth is not instant. Success is not identical. Everyone has their own path, their own process, and their own pace. The hidden cost of comparison is that it steals the one thing you need most to build a future: focus. You cannot focus on your assignment while staring at someone else's. You cannot build your vision while envying theirs. Focus is fuel, but comparison is distraction. And distraction is the enemy of destiny. So how do you escape the trap of comparison? By shifting your focus inward. Instead of asking, am I better than them? Ask, am I better than I was yesterday? The only person you need to compete with is the version of yourself you were before. If you are growing, if you are learning, if you are becoming stronger and wiser, then you are winning. Your victory is not determined by their progress, it's determined by yours. When you break free from comparison, you unlock gratitude. Gratitude for the journey you're on, for the lessons you've learned, and for the opportunities in front of you. Gratitude fuels contentment, and contentment fuels peace. That doesn't mean you settle for mediocrity. It means you run your race with joy instead of bitterness. It means you build with clarity instead of distraction. Comparison is a habit that will keep you poor, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. But when you reject comparison and focus on your own growth, you create freedom. You stop wasting energy looking sideways, and you start using that energy to move forward. And over time, the progress you make in silence will speak louder than the envy you once felt. Because here's the truth. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone else when you are fully committed to becoming the best version of yourself. Your calling is unique. Your gifts are unique. Your process is unique. And the moment you stop comparing is the moment you start creating. Discovering the value of your unique journey. Every person alive has been given a path that is uniquely theirs, a journey that no one else can walk. But here's the challenge. Too many people devalue their journey because they're too busy glorifying someone else's. They look at another person's success, another person's recognition, another person's timeline, and they start to question whether their own story matters. That's the trap. Because when you don't see the value in your journey, you'll abandon it, and when you abandon your journey, you forfeit your destiny. The truth is this: your life is not random. The setbacks, the victories, the detours, the struggles, every single part of your journey is shaping you for the assignment that only you can fulfill. You weren't created to walk the exact same road as anyone else. You weren't designed to mirror another person's process. You were built for your own path, with its own lessons, its own obstacles, and its own timing. The value of your journey lies in the fact that it is yours alone. One of the reasons people fail to value their journey is because they confuse delay with denial. Just because your breakthrough hasn't come yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because you haven't reached the level you see others at doesn't mean you're not on your way. Growth takes time. Progress takes patience. Destiny takes development. You can't microwave greatness, you have to cultivate it, step by step, season by season. If you measure your journey against someone else's timeline, you'll always feel late. But if you measure your journey against the process of growth, you'll realize you're right on time. Another reason people devalue their journey is because they see failure as proof they're not good enough. They forget that failure is not a verdict, it's feedback. Failure doesn't mean you're finished. Failure means you've been given information. Every time you fall, every time you stumble, every time something doesn't work out, you're learning, you're growing, you're adjusting. That's how you build strength. That's how you build wisdom. That's how you build resilience. Your failures are not disqualifications, they're qualifications. They prepare you for the opportunities that require depth, patience, and persistence. There's also a hidden danger in rushing through your journey. When you want the end results without the process, you miss the lessons that protect you from destruction. You might want the wealth, but if you haven't built the discipline to handle it, it will destroy you. You might want the recognition, but if you don't have the character to carry it, it will crush you. The process is not punishment, it's preparation. Every season of your journey is equipping you with what you need to handle the next season. If you skip it, you sabotage yourself. The value of your journey also comes from the fact that it equips you to help others. Your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, becomes a tool to lift someone else. The pain you endured can become the wisdom that saves another person from making the same mistake. The obstacles you overcame can become the testimony that gives someone else hope. If you discredit your journey, you not only rob yourself, you rob the people who could be inspired by your story. When you start to see the value in your journey, something shifts. Instead of resenting your struggles, you start respecting them. Instead of despising your process, you start embracing it. You realize that the obstacles are not blocking you, they're building you. They're shaping your character, sharpening your focus, and strengthening your resolve. You begin to walk with confidence because you understand that even when things don't make sense, your journey is working for you, not against you. But here's the key. You can only recognize the value of your journey when you stop measuring it against someone else's. You have to put down the comparison and pick up perspective. Perspective tells you that your setbacks are setups. Perspective tells you that your detours are redirections. Perspective tells you that your slow seasons are training grounds. Perspective tells you that your journey is not less valuable because it doesn't look like theirs, it's valuable because it looks like yours. You might not be where you want to be yet, but you're further than you were. You might not have everything you desire, but you have everything you need to keep moving forward. And if you honor your journey, if you keep showing up, if you stay faithful to the process, you will arrive at a destination greater than what you imagined. Because when you embrace your journey, you unlock the lessons that elevate you. You unlock the strength that sustains you. You unlock the wisdom that prepares you. So don't despise your journey. Don't rush it. Don't compare it. Value it. Because the value of your journey is the value of your life. And when you walk in that value, when you fully embrace the road you've been given, you step into freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from insecurity. Freedom from distraction. You stop trying to live someone else's life and start living yours fully. And in that space of authenticity, you will discover the power, peace, and purpose that were waiting for you all along. Protecting your energy from distractions. One of the greatest currencies you have is not your money, not your possessions, not even your time. It's your energy. Because how you use your energy determines how you use your time. And how you use your time determines the direction of your entire life. The reason most people stay stuck in cycles of comparison, frustration, and defeat is because they leak their energy into distractions that have nothing to do with their purpose. When you compare yourself to others, you don't just waste time, you waste emotional and mental energy. You spend hours replaying their highlight reel in your mind, wondering why your life doesn't look like theirs, analyzing their success instead of investing in your own. That's a drain, that's a distraction. And when your energy is drained, you no longer have the strength, focus, or clarity to build what belongs to you. Protecting your energy means learning to say no to things that are beneath your purpose. It means refusing to engage in battles that don't move you forward. It means being intentional about where you place your focus. Because focus is not just about what you look at, it's about what you give your strength to. If you give your strength to comparison, you'll grow weak in purpose. If you give your strength to gossip, negativity, and drama, you'll have nothing left for creativity, progress, and growth. There's a reason champions are selective with their energy. They don't show up to every fight. They don't respond to every insult. They don't engage with every distraction. They understand that every ounce of energy wasted on the wrong thing is energy stolen from the right thing. And if you want to step into the life you were created for, you've got to guard your energy like treasure. Now, protecting your energy is not just about avoiding negative influences. It's also about cultivating environments that recharge you. Ask yourself, who are the people you surround yourself with? Do they drain you or develop you? Do they pull you back or push you forward? If your circle is filled with people who thrive on negativity, who constantly compete, who drain your energy with their chaos, then it's no wonder you feel stuck. You cannot soar when you're chained to people who don't even want to walk. Sometimes protecting your energy means making hard decisions. It means creating boundaries with people who expect you to be available for their drama, but are never available for your growth. It means stepping away from environments that reward mediocrity instead of excellence. It means distancing yourself from voices that keep reminding you of who you were instead of supporting who you're becoming. Protecting your energy will cost you relationships, opportunities, and comfort zones, but the price of protecting it is nothing compared to the cost of losing it. Think about it. Every distraction you entertain steals momentum. Every unnecessary battle you fight delays progress. Every toxic voice you listen to drowns out clarity. That's why you've got to start seeing your energy as a sacred resource. You can't pour it into everything and everyone and expect to still have enough left to pour into your destiny. You've got to be strategic. You've got to be intentional. You've got to decide that your energy belongs first to the things that matter most. One of the most powerful ways to protect your energy is to master the discipline of silence. Not every thought deserves to be spoken. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every attack deserves retaliation. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say nothing and stay focused. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Because silence preserves your energy for the things that matter, while distraction drains it on things that don't. Another way to guard your energy is to practice selective attention. You don't have to consume everything. You don't have to scroll endlessly on social media, comparing your life to curated images that don't even show the full story. You don't have to watch negativity on repeat until it poisons your perspective. You get to choose what you consume, and what you consume determines the quality of your energy. If you fill your mind with junk, your energy will reflect junk. If you fill your mind with growth, with vision, with truth, your energy will reflect strength. Here's the deeper truth. Distractions aren't always obvious. Sometimes the distraction looks like opportunity, sometimes it looks like approval, sometimes it even looks like success. But if it pulls you away from your purpose, if it robs you of your focus, if it drains you of your strength, then it's not helping you, it's hurting you. You've got to learn to discern between what looks good and what is good. Because not everything that shines is gold, and not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Protecting your energy also means learning the discipline of rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is replenishment. You cannot pour endlessly without refilling. Too many people burn out not because they lacked potential, but because they refused to recharge. They thought hustling nonstop was the path to greatness, but in reality, they were depleting their greatest resource, their energy. Protecting your energy means respecting your need for recovery, for reflection, for restoration. Because when you rest well, you rise strong. So here's the question you've got to ask yourself. Where is your energy going? Are you spending it building someone else's dream while neglecting your own? Are you wasting it in battles that don't matter? Are you leaking it into comparison, jealousy, and self-doubt? Or are you protecting it, focusing it, investing it into the habits, the relationships, the projects that align with your calling? The people who rise above the noise are not the ones who had the most talent. They're not even the ones who had the best opportunities. They're the ones who learned to protect their energy. They refused to be distracted. They refused to let the wrong voices drain them. They refused to fight meaningless battles. They guarded their focus like treasure. And because of that, they had the strength, the clarity, and the persistence to keep showing up until the breakthrough came. Your energy is too valuable to waste. Your destiny is too important to delay. Your purpose is too powerful to be drained. Protect your energy. Guard it. Invest it wisely. Because when you do, you'll discover that you don't need to compare yourself to anyone. You'll be too busy walking in strength, too focused on building your path, too energized by your purpose to even notice what everyone else is doing. Finding strength in silence. There is a kind of strength that doesn't announce itself, doesn't seek validation, and doesn't clamor for attention. It's the strength of silence. Silence has been misunderstood by many as weakness, as passivity, as the inability to respond. But in truth, silence is one of the most powerful tools you can possess, especially when you're navigating a world that constantly pulls you into comparison and distraction. The world today thrives on noise. Social media, constant updates, opinions, arguments, commentary, it's everywhere. And people fall into the trap of thinking they must always be visible, always be responding, always be explaining themselves. That's why so many waste their energy defending their choices, proving their worth, or responding to critics who don't even matter. They miss the reality that silence itself is a response. Silence communicates strength, discipline, and focus in a way that words often cannot. When you choose silence, you're not giving up your voice, you're guarding it. You're deciding that not every battle deserves your effort. You're saying that your purpose is too big to be derailed by meaningless debates or petty distractions. Silence is a refusal to get entangled in things that don't move you forward. And in that refusal, there is freedom. Silence gives you space to think. It creates room for clarity. Most people are so busy talking, responding, reacting that they never take time to reflect. They never pause to consider whether the path they're on is even the right one. When you embrace silence, you create a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, you find wisdom, you gain perspective, you begin to see your situation from angles you couldn't recognize when you were caught up in the noise. Silence also strengthens self-control. When you can hold your tongue in moments of provocation, you prove to yourself that you are not controlled by external forces. You are not a slave to someone else's words or actions. You are in charge of your responses. That kind of discipline is rare and it's powerful. It means you can maintain focus on your goals while others exhaust themselves fighting battles that don't matter. But silence doesn't just protect you from external distractions, it also helps you confront internal ones. When you're silent, you can no longer drown out your doubts, fears, or insecurities with noise. You have to face them. And facing them is the first step to conquering them. Too many people avoid silence because they don't want to confront themselves. They fill their lives with endless activity and chatter, thinking that busyness equals progress. But busyness without clarity is just motion without direction. Silence forces you to deal with yourself, to realign your thoughts, and to strengthen your resolve. In silence, you also learn to listen not just to yourself, but to the guidance that comes from beyond you. Wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. Clarity doesn't come in chaos, it comes in stillness. If you want to hear the direction for your life, if you want to discern the opportunities that align with your purpose, you must create space for silence. You can't hear guidance while you're drowning in noise. Now, choosing silence doesn't mean you hide. It doesn't mean you never speak up. It doesn't mean you deny your voice. It means you learn the discipline of when to speak and when to hold back. There's a difference between silence that's rooted in fear and silence that's rooted in wisdom. Fearful silence is avoidance. Wise silence is strategy. When your silence is chosen, not forced, it becomes a weapon. It allows you to conserve energy, maintain focus, and build momentum. Consider how much energy people waste explaining themselves to those who don't even want to understand. They argue, defend, and justify endlessly, but explanation doesn't change closed minds. Silence, however, communicates confidence. It says, I don't need your approval to move forward. I don't need your validation to keep building. My results will speak louder than my words. That's power. Finding strength in silence also protects your vision. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams, your goals, or your plans. Some people will use your vision against you. Some will sow doubt, discouragement, or negativity into it. When you practice silence, you learn to protect sacred things until they are strong enough to be revealed. A seed doesn't grow in the open air, it grows underground, in silence, away from constant exposure. Your vision needs that same kind of protection. There's also another dimension to silence. It makes your actions louder. When you stop talking about what you're going to do and start quietly working on it, your results will make the noise for you. Your growth, your discipline, your transformation, they speak louder than any words you could say. Silence adds weight to your results because you're not exhausting energy on announcements, you're investing it in execution. This is why silence is strength. It teaches you that not everything deserves your response, that not everyone deserves your explanation, and that not every opportunity deserves your energy. Silence is not the absence of power, it's the containment of it. Like a sword kept in its sheath, silence reminds you that power doesn't always need to be demonstrated to be real. If you want to stop comparing yourself to others, if you want to break free from the noise of competition and distraction, learn the discipline of silence. Protect your focus, guard your energy, nurture your vision. Use silence not as a retreat, but as a strategy. Because when you find strength in silence, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You let your life, your work, your results speak. And in a world obsessed with noise, that kind of quiet confidence becomes unstoppable. Walking boldly in your own path to 1,000 words. There comes a point when you must decide that your life is not going to be lived in the shadows of comparison, not going to be dictated by what other people are doing, saying, or achieving. That point is the moment you choose to walk boldly in your own path. Boldness doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean shouting for attention. It doesn't mean trying to outshine others. Boldness means living with conviction, with confidence, with certainty that the path you've been given is worth walking, even if no one else believes in it yet. When you walk boldly in your own path, you are no longer seeking validation from others. Too many people are trapped because they're waiting for approval before they take a step. They want their friends to agree, their family to support, their peers to applaud before they move. But if you wait for the crowd to cheer you on, you'll never begin. Walking boldly means stepping forward, whether people clap for you or criticize you. It means you've decided that your calling is too important to be delayed by the opinions of spectators. Boldness also means refusing to apologize for being different. Your uniqueness is not a flaw, it's a feature. But society teaches us to conform, to fit in, to follow trends, to look like everyone else. And so people shrink. They bury their talents, they hide their ideas, they suppress their creativity just to avoid standing out. Walking boldly requires you to embrace what sets you apart. It means understanding that your difference is your distinction, and your distinction is your advantage. What makes you stand out is exactly what qualifies you for the opportunities designed for you. Another part of walking boldly is owning your mistakes and failures without shame. When you're bold, you understand that failure doesn't diminish you, it develops you. You stop hiding your setbacks and start using them as stepping stones. You recognize that the lessons you learn in failure are what give you the strength to keep moving. Most people try to look perfect, and in doing so, they rob themselves of authenticity. But authenticity is power. Boldness says, I may have fallen, but I got back up. I may not be perfect, but I'm persistent. And persistence always outlasts perfection. Walking boldly in your path also requires vision. You've got to know where you're going, or at least know the direction you're called to head. Boldness without vision is just noise. But when you have a clear vision for your life, your boldness becomes unstoppable momentum. Vision gives you the courage to keep walking when the road gets hard. Vision gives you the clarity to say no to distractions that don't fit. Vision keeps you anchored when comparison tries to pull you off course. But here's the truth. Boldness isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when fear is present. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if they laugh at you? Boldness responds, even if I fail, I'll rise. Even if I'm not perfect, I'll grow. Even if they laugh, I'll keep going. Fear doesn't disappear. It loses its power when you decide to act anyway. That's boldness. Walking boldly also means being consistent. Boldness is not about one big leap. It's about taking steps daily. It's about showing up when it's hard, when you don't feel like it, when no one is watching. Consistency turns bold intentions into bold realities. Every day you show up for your vision, you reinforce the belief that your path is worth walking. And eventually, the results speak for themselves. There's also a responsibility that comes with walking boldly in your own path. People are watching you. Some are hoping you fail, but others are hoping you succeed because your courage gives them courage. When you step into your path with boldness, you give permission to others to do the same. You become a living testimony that it's possible to break free from comparison, to silence the noise, to walk in purpose without apology. Boldness is contagious. It lights a fire in others to rise and pursue their own paths. You must also understand that walking boldly means enduring resistance. People will misunderstand you. They'll question your motives. They'll doubt your abilities. They'll criticize your choices. And if you're not prepared for that resistance, you'll retreat back into conformity. But boldness says, I will not shrink to fit. I will not dim my light because it makes others uncomfortable. I will not abandon my path to walk someone else's. The opposition is proof that I'm making progress, not a reason to turn back. Walking boldly doesn't mean you'll have all the answers. It doesn't mean the path will be easy. It doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you'll move forward anyway. It means you'll trust the process. It means you'll keep your eyes fixed on the vision and your feet moving in faith. Boldness is the decision to step into the unknown with confidence that the road will rise to meet you. So how do you begin? You begin by deciding. Decide today that you will stop measuring your worth against others. Decide that you will stop waiting for approval. Decide that you will embrace your uniqueness. Decide that you will walk in your vision, even if no one else understands it. Boldness begins with a decision, and decisions shape destiny. When you walk boldly in your own path, something shifts inside of you. The weight of comparison falls off. The chains of insecurity break. The distractions lose their grip. You become free not because the world changed, but because you did. You begin to realize that the life you were trying to copy from others pales in comparison to the life you were designed to live. And once you taste that freedom, once you feel the strength of walking boldly, there's no going back. Walk boldly. Live with conviction. Pursue your path unapologetically. And as you do, you'll discover that you were never meant to compete with anyone else. You were meant to complete the assignment placed in your hands. That's where the joy is. That's where the peace is. That's where the success is. Not in trying to live someone else's life, but in boldly walking in your own.